Evening, everybody. The event is going to begin in 5 minutes' time, so I'm going to ask you please to take your seats as quickly as possible so we can begin. Thank you. Evening, ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, honored guests, friends. On behalf of our dear host, Ahmed Abed al-Mansouri, who's the founder of this museum, I'd like to call on Her Excellency Liran Zaslansky, Consul General of Israel in Dubai, to begin this event.
Thank you, Ross. His Excellency Amir Hayek, Ambassador of Israel to the UAE, Deputy Consul General of Germany to Dubai and the Northern Emirates, Mrs. Ute Magdalena, Deputy Head of Mission of Poland to the UAE, Mr. Jacek Buda and Mr. Michal Lukaszewski, Member of Knesset Ohad Tal, Member of Knesset Moshe Solomon, Rabbi Matanya Yadid, Rabbi Daniel Roth, dear rabbis, community members, friends. Thank you all for joining us this evening, commemorating Yom HaShoah, the Israeli Holocaust Remembrance Day. A special thanks to our dear friend and host, Mr. Ahmed al-Mansouri, whose partnership and work for the commemoration of the Holocaust is exceptional. Ahmed is currently in the March of the Living in Poland and therefore couldn't be with us tonight. Many of you were present several months ago when we gathered here at the Crossroads of Civilizations Museum to mark International Holocaust Remembrance Day. While the rest of the world has designated January 27th, the date that Auschwitz was liberated, as a memorial date, the Israeli Yom HaShoah falls out in the Hebrew month of Nisan, set on the date of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising. This year is the 80th anniversary of the uprising. Tomorrow morning, sirens will sound all across Israel, and the entire country will come to a halt for a minute of complete and total silence. People will stop what they're doing. Busy highways will come to a standstill as we remember the 6 million Jews murdered at the time of the Holocaust. The 27th of the Jewish month of Nisan is the anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising, in which a small group of Jewish resistance fighters, primarily youth, decided to take up arms and fight back against the Nazis. Despite its tragic end, the uprising became a symbol of Jewish resistance and heroism. By choosing the anniversary of the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising as the main theme of this Yom HaShoah, the State of Israel commemorates not only the 6 million Jews who were murdered, but also stands as a reminder of the courage and resilience of the Jewish people in the face of unimaginable horror. Despite the overwhelming odds, the Warsaw Ghetto fighters refused to be sent to the gas chambers without a fight. And indeed, Marek Edelman, the last leader of the uprising, wrote after the war that one cannot be passive in the face of evil. Tonight, we gather to remember and honor the victims and survivors of the Holocaust. The very fact that we are gathered here tonight at this inspirational Holocaust exhibition, the first in the Middle East outside of Israel, is an incredible testament to our ability as people to work past long-standing differences towards a brighter future. This Yom HaShoah ceremony is a tribute to the resilience of human spirit. It is a reminder that even in the darkest of time, there is always hope. Now, I'm honored to present His Excellency Dani Dayan. Dani Dayan is the chairman of Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center. Prior to his position at Yad Vashem, he served as Israel's Consul General in New York. Previously, he served as chairman of the Yesha Council. He will address us in this video message. Thank you.
Shalom from the Mount of Remembrance in Jerusalem, the site of Yad Vashem. There is a Jewish tradition to start an address praising the hosting place, B'Shevach HaAchsaniya in Hebrew. In this case, it's a real pleasure to do it, because I believe that the Museum Crossroads of Civilizations is really an outstanding place, a unique place in the Arab world, a unique place in the Middle East, that commemorates, among other things, the Jewish Holocaust, the Jewish Shoah. But the museum is the embodiment of the vision of its leader, my good friend Ahmad El-Mansouri. I want to thank you, dear Ahmad, for all your work you do constantly, incessantly, for Holocaust remembrance and for friendship between the Jewish and the Arab peoples. Unfortunately, but also inevitably, we are approaching a watershed moment in Holocaust remembrance, the moment in which we will have no more actual witnesses, survivors amongst us. I hope it will take many years to reach that point, but at some point, biology will do its thing and we will reach it. When that happens, that will be the happy hour of the denialists and the distortionists. In order to defeat them, in order to win the battle for truth, for historical accuracy, we will have to join forces. Our task will be much more difficult, much more challenging, but also much more important, much more vital. Therefore, Holocaust remembrance, Holocaust awareness, and mostly Holocaust education becomes now vital, becomes an important part of human education all over the world. It's not only a Jewish matter, it's a universal matter. And we are very proud to join forces with persons of goodwill all over the world, including in the UAE, in order to promote that important legacy, never again. Thank you so much.
I'm now honored to call on Ambassador Amir Hayek, the ambassador of the State of Israel to the United Arab Emirates, to give his keynote address for the evening.
Thank you, Ross. Good evening. Member of the Knesset, Moshe Solomon, Member of the Knesset, Ohad Tal, Rabbi Matanya Yadid, and Rabbi Daniel Roth, our Consul General in Dubai, Liron Zaslansky, my spouse and friend, Ifat Turbiner, Dr. Ifat Turbiner, Ross, distinguished guests. Tonight, on the eve of the Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is marked every year in the State of Israel, we stand here at the United Arab Emirates, not for the first time, and remember the horrific events of the Holocaust. Remembering the past for the sake of the future. Remembering the past to make sure that no one forgets and to make sure that never again. Remembering the past for the sake of the future generations, among whom there will be no Holocaust survivors, unfortunately. Here in the United Arab Emirates, under the leadership of His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, a country that promotes tolerance towards any person, a country that accepts every religion and open to every nationality, we stand here proud and remember. I'm honored to thank the leadership of the United Arab Emirates, under the leadership of His Highness, for the path they have been charted for a better future. In September 2022, we had the honor to host His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan in Israel. During his visit, His Highness visited Yad Vashem, the Holocaust Memorial Museum in Jerusalem, and there he honored the memory of those who were murdered, placed a word and lit a candle to their memory. For me, as Israel's first ambassador here in the United Arab Emirates, it was an emotional moment like no other, and I feel obligated to thank Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan once again for his visit and honoring the memory of those who were murdered in the Holocaust. The state of Israel arose from ashes of the Holocaust. Jews from all over the world gathered together to have a home for the Jewish people. A home that will protect them, a home that will ensure that the terrible things never happen again. The Holocaust was not an isolated event, nor did it happen overnight. It was a result of years of propaganda, discrimination, and violence, fueled by hate and fears. It was collective, a failure of the humanity to protect the most valuable among us and uphold the basic principles of human rights and dignity. We remember the victims of the Holocaust. We must also acknowledge the role that the ordinary people played in this evil. We must confront the uncomfortable truth that not everyone stood up against the Nazis, and that some even collaborated with them or remained silent in face of the unimaginable altruistics. But we must also honor the bravery and resilience of those who resisted, who risked their lives to save others, who spoke out against injustice, and who refused to surrender. We must learn from their example and carry forward their legacy of compassion, courage, and hope. We, as children, grew up as Israelis, and among us, many other children of Holocaust survivors. Most of them did not know the concept of grandparents. Yesterday, we had a conversation, Ifat and myself, and she told me about her mother and her father that did not know what is the concept of grandmother and grandfather. They did not know, think about it, the old generation of children whose parents managed to escape from the Nazis and started new families without their parents, who were murdered in cold blood just because the fact that they were Jews. And the parents of our friends who managed to escape carried behind them a terrible sights of a terrible massacre that the Jewish people went through in Europe, and they were mostly silent. They were silent in order to raise a generation of Israelis who will not carry on their back the terrible sights and experience that they felt. They lived among us sometimes as ghosts. And the proof that they were part of those designed for death was a tattoos number on their arms. Prove that they beat the death machine. In Israel of our childhood, many books were written about the Holocaust. The culture was built around it. But as the years went by, the color faded. Therefore, we must not stop. We must remind. Therefore, we must not stop. We must teach about the 6 million Jews who were brutally murdered just because of being a Jews. We must not accept racism. We must not accept and agree to violence against a person, and it doesn't matter who she or he is. Next year, they will be learned here about the Holocaust in the schools in the United Arab Emirates. This is another victory of the light over darkness. This is another victory of the good over evil. And for that, I would like to thank, on behalf of the Israeli government and the Jewish world, if I may, the leadership of the United Arab Emirates. Finally, I would like to thank my friend Ahmed al-Mansouri, who founded this unique and important museum. Ahmed is participating now in the March of Living in Poland, and he is not here with us, but what this friend is doing is unbelievable, and we would like to thank him. I would like to thank you that you came to honor the memory of the Holocaust. We will never forget, never again. Thank you.
Thank you, Ambassador Hayek. As is customary, we are now going to light 6 candles to commemorate the victims of the Holocaust. It's an opportunity for us as well to honor the dignitaries that join us tonight. I'd like to ask the following please to come up and each light 1 candle. His Excellency, Member of Knesset, Ohad Tal. His Excellency, Member of Knesset, Moshe Solomon. His Excellency, Member of Knesset, Rabbi Daniel Roth. Her Excellency, Uta Maria Magdalena, Deputy Consul General representing the Federal Republic of Germany. His Excellency Mr. Jacek Buda, Deputy Head of Mission for the Republic of Poland. I'm now going to ask Harvey and the members of the CCM team to hand out these neshama candles with great thanks to Sharon of the Jewish Agency for bringing them from Israel. These candles will be handed out to community members. We'd ask you please to light them, and when you have an opportunity afterwards, please to place them on the table. Each candle represents a victim of the Holocaust. The name and circumstances of their death are placed on the candle. Afterwards, we will observe a minute of silence. I'd like to ask Sarah Besnenu and Steve Benchamal to light the 6th candle, please, honored members of our community. Members of the CCM team will bring a lighter to you so that you can light your neshama candle. And I'd like to call everyone please to stand up and observe a minute of silence in memory of the victims of the Holocaust. Thank you. I'd like to call on Yehuda Geffen, member of the Consulate of Dhabi of the State of Israel, to say Yizkor, please.
יזכור אלוהים את כל הנשמות של קהילות בית ישראל שהועלו על מוקד בשנות השואה תש"ע. 6 מיליון אנשים ונשים, ילדים וילדות, בחורים ובתולות, זקן וטף, שנהרגו ושנטבחו באכזריות איומה ונרצחו ברצח המונים במקומות מגוריהם, בערים, בעיירות ובכפרים, ויתרם הובלו למחנות הריכוז ונספו במיתות משונות ונוראות, ונשרפו לאפר בכבשני האש של מחנות ההשמדה האיומים בגרמניה ובפולין ובשאר ארצות בידי עם המרצחים הגרמני, עם עוזריו הרוצחים משאר העמים, שהיו בעצה אחת להשמיד ולהרוג ולאבד את העם היהודי, ולמחות את זכר היהדות, ולכלות כל אשר בשם ישראל יקרא. אל נקמות, שופט הארץ, זכור נא את נחלי הדם שנשפך כמים, דמי אבות ובנים, אמהות ועולליהן, רבנן ותלמידיהם, והשב גמול שבעתיים לצוררי עמך. שבעת שמע ישראל שזעקו הלקוחין למוות, אל תדום, ואנקת המעונים תעלה לפני כיסא כבודך, לנקום במהרה בימינו לעינינו את נקמת דם בניך ובנותיך הקדושים והטהורים, שלא זכו לקבר ישראל, ככתוב, כי דם עבדיו יקום ונקם ישיב לצריו, וכיפר אדמתו עמו.
I'd like to call on Rabbi Matanya Yadid to say Psalm 82, Mr. Asaf.
מזמור לאסף. אלוהים ניצב בעדת אל, בקרב אלוהים ישפוט. עד מתי תשפטו עוול, ופני רשעים תישאו סלע? שפטו דל ויתום, עני ורש הצדיקו. פלטו דל ואביון, מיד רשעים הצילו. לא ידעו ולא יבינו, בחשיכה יתהלכו, ימותו כל מוסדי ארץ. אני אמרתי אלוהים אתם, ובני עליון כולכם, אכן כאדם תמותון, וכאחד השרים תיפולו. קומה אלוהים, שבתה הארץ, כי אתה תנחל בכל הגויים.
I'd like to call on dear friend and one of the original founders of the Jewish community in Dubai, Alex Petterfront, to sing El Maleh Rachamim.
אל מלא רחמים, שוכן במרומים, האמצי מנוחה נכונה, עלי כנפי השכינה. במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע, מאירים ומזהירים. לנשמות 6 מיליוני אחינו בני ישראל, אנשים, נשים, ילדים וילדות, שנהרגו, שנשחטו, שנשרפו, שנחנקו, שנטבעו ושנקברו חיים בידי הנאצים ויוזריהם, יימח שמם. באושוויץ, מיידנק, טרבלינקה, מאוטהאוזן ובשח מחנות ההשמדה ומסרו את נפשם על קדושת השם בעבור שאנו מתפללים לעילוי נשמותיהם לכן בעל הרחמים יסתירם בסתר כנפיו לעולמים וייצר אור בצרור החיים את נשמותיהם בגן עדן תהיה מנוחתם אדוני הוא נחלתם וינוחו בשלום על משכבם ונאמר אמן.
You can be seated. Thank you. It's my honor now to close this commemoration. It's a commemoration that's been attended by the Ambassador and Consul General of the State of Israel, honored members of Knesset, representatives of the Federal Republic of Germany and the Republic of Poland, Jewish community leaders, rabbis, congregants that are based in Dubai and Abu Dhabi. The fact that representatives of European nations join with representatives of the State of Israel in the United Arab Emirates to remember the suffering and acts of courage of the victims and heroes of the Holocaust is strikingly meaningful. Like so many developments that have occurred recently in the UAE, it will take time to process and fully understand the true significance of this. At the very least, it's a convergence, a coming together that may not have been thought possible even recently. It demonstrates that our world is more mutable than we imagine and more capable of evolving from enmity, hatred, and worse towards compassion, mutual recognition, and shared purpose. Our Jewish life in the UAE, including these wonderful developments, has a naturalness to it that has accrued over nearly 10 years. Nobody any longer is surprised to see religious Jews and Israelis openly identifying as such and mixing easily and spontaneously with other nationalities and ethnicities in an atmosphere of amity and fraternity in Dubai and Abu Dhabi and throughout the UAE. Even an event such as this may seem to be part of the natural order of things. This perception, however welcome it may be, may incline us to underestimate the enormous effort, vision, and courage that makes this coming together possible. The UAE has spent decades involved in theological scholarship, curriculum revision, as referred to by the ambassador, community building, complex statecraft, and policy making in all fields to establish, secure, enhance, and lead a future tense world that strikes us now as natural and obvious. Just recently, a purpose-built synagogue was consecrated in Abu Dhabi as part of a larger complex, which is a memorial to our common ancestors and our common religious lineage. On March 14th, the UAE also inaugurated an entity called Menara, which is a religious center for coexistence in which the Anti-Defamation League features centrally and brings over a century of experience to Abu Dhabi about how to fight hatred and extremism. These efforts place the UAE at the vanguard of efforts to resist and counter the discourse and activity of hatred and extremism, including anti-Semitism. On Yom HaShoah, it's fitting for us to recognize these efforts and remember that nothing short of intensive effort, planning, and vision of this kind will urge nations and human beings in this direction. Paraphrasing from Pirkei Avot, the ethics of our fathers, we are not required to finish this work, yet neither are we permitted to desist from it. The unfinished work of establishing human fraternity remains ever more precious and important, even in and especially because of its perpetual state of incompletion. I'd like to conclude and bring the formal proceedings to an end with a word about our dear host, Ahmed Abed al-Mansouri. His devotion to Holocaust education has made him a figure of international prominence. And as mentioned by the Consul General, tonight he's in Krakow, an honored guest for the March of the Living. His linkage here in this museum of the contemporary culture of tolerance and pluralism in the UAE to its ancient cultural roots, which always embodied cultural exchange between civilizations, is deeply reassuring. Dear Ahmed, we owe you a profound debt of gratitude. Your personality and actions are more persuasive than any words could ever be of a hope that can be nurtured for our shared human future. Thank you. I would also just finally like to say a special word of thanks, in addition to Ahmed al-Mansouri, to the sponsors for the event, Visions of Abraham and Eli Epstein, and Alex is here and Eli Epstein is arriving tonight, the Consul General of the Federal Republic of Germany, and the Jewish Agency for Israel. Without your generous support, this event would not have been possible, at least not at this level. And I'd also like to thank the wonderful team of Ahmed for putting together such a wonderful event. Thank you. Light refreshments are served.